morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1425. Happy Monday. It's a great weekend in Chicago. I had to run to the other room real quick. Out of breath. It's a good weekend. A little late. Ernie was a little shithead last night. And it'll be nice for him to get back to doggy daycare today. He gets like rambunctious. And it's like it's playtime. And he'll spend, what's the annoying part is it'll be 8, 7, 8, 9. Ernie just crashed on the floor. Like just sleepy time. Then I go to bed 9:30. Look around on my phone, scroll through for a little bit. 10 o'clock, sleepy time for me. And Mom and Ernie get into bed at 11. And all of a sudden, I can hear the, like, you son of a bitch. Oh. Licks my frickin' mouth. Like, dude, come on. So he was very rambunctious last night. So that kept me up. And then I was up 3:41. Isn't it weird how I cannot remember I can't remember to take out the trash, yet I can remember the exact time down to the minute when I woke up in the middle of the night, 3:41. It's like a superpower that provides no benefits whatsoever. But I woke up at 3:41 and was like wide awake. I'm like, God damn it. I'm scrolling on my phone at 3:41 a.m. and finally fall back asleep. And then my alarm goes off at 6, whatever time it was. And I'm like, screw this. Ernie kept me up. I was up at 3:41, turned my alarm off, and then I woke up and it's like 7:15 or something. I'm like, oh, crap. So hence why I'm a little tardy. Oh, it is St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you, Cooter, for the reminder. I don't celebrate, which is strange because we celebrated, like as a family, we celebrated St. Patrick's Day. My mom would make corned beef and cabbage. Sometimes we'd go out and have like the St. Patrick's Day special at the local restaurant, have Reubens or corned beef and cabbage. It was like a big thing growing up. Like as a kid, it was a big thing to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And I think my mom grew long before we had Ancestry to tell us what our DNA was. I think my mom was led to believe she was Irish. She wasn't. She was mostly English. In fact, both sides of my mom and dad were mostly English. Although my grandma on my dad's side was from Sweden. She was first generation. She was born in America. Her parents, after they were married, moved from Sweden to America. So Swedish on my grandma's side, on my paternal grandma, is that how you say? But then my paternal grandfather was from England, and I think both my maternal grandparents came from England as well, or maybe Scotland was in there. But at some point there was some Ireland in there. And I think on my, I'm not wearing any green. I just don't get into it. And I don't like, this is strange. Green is my favorite color, but I don't like green shirts. I just never wear green shirts. I don't know. Black and blues is typically what I wear. I don't like red either. Maybe that's because of the Cardinals. But DNA, what's my there's like should be like on your homepage. I'm looking at Ancestry. Here's Origins. Journeys. No. Inheritance. Oh, that's locked. Can't. Gotta have a subscription. Oh, here it is. Here's my so I am 36% English. I am 31% Scottish. Scottish. I am Scottish. 23% Swedish, which makes perfect sense because of my maternal grandmother. And then the rest, I'm just a mutt. I'm only 5% Irish, which I think when I first got this, I was like 10%, but more DNA. 5% Irish, 2% Norwegian, 2% Germanic Europe, and 1% Finnish. Who would have thought? 1% Finnish. But I'm only 5% Irish. And my growing up, I would have thought like my grandparents took the boat from Ireland, from Dublin. But no, I'm 5% Irish. But we celebrated like we were 90% Irish growing up. So no, I don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day. It's amateur hour. I thought like, oh, I'll go meet up my buddy at the bar. Oh shit, not on St. Patrick's Day. I'm not leaving the house on St. Patrick's Day. So I haven't done green beer since I was in my 20s. Hey, speaking of beer, so happy St. Patrick's Day. Speaking of beer, I was in Chicago this weekend, and I stayed in town on Saturday night. And I was at the hotel bar, had a burger and a couple beers at the hotel bar. And there was a couple next to me, and they ordered a beer with olive juice. And I'm like, what in the hell are they thinking? And so the bartender's like, yeah, he's like, he was semi-familiar with the olive juice thing. And he's like, yeah, I think it's just kind of like salt in your beer, and I've heard that. I've heard people putting salt in their beer, and I get it. I don't, but I do, right? So I finished up my Blue Moon without the orange. That just gets in the way. So the bartender's like, another Blue Moon, and I'm like, you know what? I'd like a Coors Light with olive juice. I want to try this out. He just kind of laughed, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, I think it's just kind of like similar to putting salt in your beer. I'm like, I've never heard of olive juice. I've heard of salt, never heard of olive juice. Let's give this a try. So he puts the olive juice in the glass and pours the beer. And the first sip of my Coors Light with olive juice, you could really taste the olive juice. It's like, okay. And it's not bad. It wasn't bad. Wasn't good. It tasted like Coors Light with olive juice. And like then I took the second drink, and it was like more diluted. And then the third drink, and then like, okay, I don't taste the olive juice anymore. So my gray, it's super underwhelming. I would give it a C, just a C. Wasn't good, wasn't bad. It was just okay. So a Coors Light, a beer and olive juice. Wasn't gross. Wasn't great, wasn't good, wasn't bad. It was just like, yeah, just Coors Light with a slightly salty flavor. And it was, if I had to kind of compare it to anything, it was just a tinge of salt. In that first drink, you could taste like, oh, what's that flavor? Oh, that's olive juice. But it wasn't like super olive juicy, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, that's what I had. So I was at the Chicago Sports Spectacular. I'm going to get to the chat here in a second. Um, Showcase for the first time. Tell you how that went. No bar, not a single, not even a small little 3 or 4 row box of bargain box cards. So tell you how that went. I did buy some things, sold some things. I bought a showcase on the way down. Bought a showcase. So we'll talk about the Chicago Sports Spectacular. Madison Cart Show is coming up in less than 2 weeks now. PSA will be on site. They will be accepting submissions. So you come in, you drop them off. PSA takes them away, and they will send them back to you. So you save on shipping. You can ask customer service questions, but you don't have to mail it yourself. So that's the easy part. You can save some time. You can print off the form and fill that out and bring it in. That will save you time at the show. It's not required. You can do that at the show. I think they'll have computers and printers set up where you can do that at the show. I met Denton is the guy that arranges the events. So we got to talk for a little bit this weekend as he was with the team. Unfortunately, he won't make the trip to Madison, but the rest of the team will. So Madison Card Show, Saturday, March 29th. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Free admission, 140 dealer tables, including PSA, and they'll be on site accepting submissions for grading and authenticating. Had a couple dealers that they're like, how the hell did you get PSA to come to your show? And I'm like, I don't know, because I didn't do it. They reached out to me. So that's Saturday, March 29th, less than 2 weeks away. April is a big weekend with 2 shows, 2 completely separate shows. Saturday, April 26th, is no different than any other Madison Card Show. Saturday, April 26th, Madison Card Show, 140 dealer tables of sports and Pokemon and other TCG. It'll just be like any other previous Madison Card Show. There's no difference in the April Madison Card Show. The next day, there's a completely different show at the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive in the upstairs Capitol Square Ballroom and the mezzanine. It's the Madison Pokemon Show. And yesterday, we sold out. I had 4 tables remaining, and those 4 tables sold out. So we are officially sold out. All Madison Card Shows sold out. So going to be a great event. 100 dealer tables at the Madison Pokemon Show, the upstairs mezzanine, and inside in the Capitol Square Ballroom. So that's a 2-show weekend in Madison. Madison Card Show, the regular card show on Saturday, and then Sunday is the TCG only show. So you won't find sports cards on Sunday. You'll find Pokemon and other TCG. That is the weekend of Saturday, April 26th, and Sunday, April 27th. And don't forget to check out my eBay store, 99centcards.com. I added a couple like small player lots from my hotel room on Saturday night. You can check those out, 99centcards.com. I think I might have some auctions ending tonight. I can't remember. Check it out anyway, 99centcards.com. In the Buy It Now section, buy 7 or more items at regular price, and you'll save 25% off at checkout over at 99centcards.com. And good morning, David. What's happening? Mr. Archer is here. What's happening? Philly Joe's in the house. Good morning. Royals 417. He's in Florida. I bet that's warmer than here. Hey, I don't know what the weather is like, but I bet it's nice in Florida. Good morning. It was 80 degrees here on, was it Friday? It was like 25 degrees warmer in Madison, Wisconsin than it was in Phoenix, Arizona. So I'm glad I got out when I did, right? It hit 80 degrees here. And it was nice on Saturday. And then I look out the Donald Stevens Convention Center windows on Sunday morning. It was cold when I drove in on Sunday, or when I drove the half mile from my hotel to the parking garage. It was cold, but then all of a sudden, an hour or two later, I look, I'm like, holy shit, it's snowing. My buddy Brad, who runs Bonsai Card Shop in DeForest, he's set up next to me, and he's like an hour late. And I'm like, dude, what'd you do? Sleep in? And he drove back and forth from Madison to Chicago each day. And he's like, it's like a blizzard out there. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I see it snowing. He's like, no, it's like there were like 30 cars in the ditch on the way down. So fortunately, it did warm up and you couldn't even tell it snowed. Like there was some snow on the sides, like on the interstate, but it did not even look like it had snowed on the way home at 5:00 last night. So lucked out there. But how about crazy weather? I mean, that's Midwest weather. That's 81 day and a blizzard the next in March. That lousy Smarch weather. Victor, what's going on? Good morning. Go Cubs. Hey, we are 24 hours away. Actually, in 24 hours, the game will be wrapping up. We are less than 24 hours away from the opening of the 2025 regular season in Tokyo, Japan, as the Chicago Cubs face the Los Angeles Dodgers. We've got, is it Yamamoto versus Imanaga? Cubs and Dodgers, game 1 of the 2025 season. So I'm gonna set my alarm and try to catch the first pitch tomorrow morning. I think it's 5:10 a.m. first pitch tomorrow morning, Central Time. So a little nicer if you're on the East Coast, 6:10. Really sucks if you're on the West Coast because it's 3 a.m. But 5:10 a.m. Central Time tomorrow morning, Cubs, Dodgers. Brian, good morning. Gem City Card Show, what's happening? Good morning. I love that even a savvy vet like Bo had a first at a card show, kind of like an outfielder pitching or something like that. Yeah. I've been doing card shows for 20 plus years. I'm trying to think of my first. I did a card show or two when I was like a kid, like 10 years old, back when every little small podunk town had card shows at their local community center, 10 tables, back in the height of the junk wax era. And I had a table, they were like $10 a table. I think it was like $25 to rent the community center, 10 tables at $10 each. Make a little money. But my first real adult card shows probably right around 20 years ago, probably around 2005. I'm trying to think when I got back in, maybe 2006. I don't know if Dave Arnold's here, but Dave Arnold, I think Dave and I think the Springfield card shows that we were going to at the Route 66 Hotel in Springfield, Illinois, I think those were the first card shows that I was as an adult setting up at. Maybe I did a Peoria show before that, but I'd say right around 20 years. But I was either showcaseless or just completely bargain box. And usually in those early days, it was I'd put some of the $5 and $10 cards just out on the table. Didn't need a showcase. But this weekend, first ever showcase. I am now the owner. I have a Pelican case and a showcase. Who would have thought? That's evolution, baby. Cooter says, happy St. Patrick's Day. Orlando is here. What's going on? Dan is in the house. What's happening? John wants to know why I'm not wearing green. I'm only 5% Irish. We don't celebrate. Scott, good morning. John says, if you had invested $1,000 in Bitcoin on February 17th, then you'd have $860 today. Congrats. What if I would have invested $1,000 in Bitcoin on February 17th of last year? Then I might have made a couple $100. Dan says, the only green shirt I own is my About the Cards podcast shirt. Very cool. I don't even know if I own a green shirt. Actually, I have a shirt similar to this that's green, but the zipper broke. So I could have wore that today with a broken zipper. I think that might be the only, because I don't have anything like this is probably black or blue or gray. My sports shirts are, I have a Milwaukee Bucks hoodie that is green. I could have wore my Milwaukee Bucks hoodie. It is only, according to my computer, it's 28 degrees, which is freaking cold, but I don't know if that's accurate. Sometimes that's like a week late. John says we had green orange juice growing up. That sounds kind of gross. But I don't. Oh, there's Rookie. He's looking for Rookie is every time Rookie comes out. Rookie's our neighbor dog, for those wondering. Every time Rookie goes out to go potty, he comes to he's got one of those like collars where he's invisible fence. They've got an invisible fence. And like he doesn't go pot. Like when he gets let out, like he's looking over into our yard. He's looking for Ernie. And he races down from their deck and bolts across the yard to the line, the invisible line. And he looks up because sometimes if Ernie knows Rookie's out, Ernie will be up in the window barking. And then Ernie barks back. Ernie's looking again. He's like, where's my friend? Where's Ernie? I want to play. Ernie's still in bed. He's sleeping, although he did poop earlier. So Ernie's in the backyard looking for his playmate. And Ernie is sleeping still. Dan says 23andMe. Mine is, I think, Ancestry. Let me see. I think it's Ancestry. Ancestry is what I use. John says we were Irish grandparents born in Ireland. Dan says, guess what I am? I'm going to say Polish with a name like that. I'm going to say Polish for Dan. John says, and I like Enya. What was Enya? Enya was, I was thinking Return to Innocence, but that was Enigma. Enya. John says 48% Irish, 22% Ashkenazi. The rest is junk wax. Yeah, I'm English, Swedish, Scottish, and junk wax. Dan says, remember Upper Deck 40 Man? Picked up both for Burley from 2003. Oh, yeah. I loved those sets. I loved Upper Deck 40 Man. I loved Topps Total, the initial, not the online version they created a couple of years ago. But I love those sets because you get cards of players that don't normally get cards. I love those sets. I wish they would bring something like that. But I know they won't. And why won't they? Because there's no money in it. Because just because I like it doesn't mean a lot of people will like it. I'm sure there's a lot of people listening. Oh, I'd love to have that. But we're in the minority. And what's selling right now is shiny debut patches and superfractors and autographs and refractors and all that expensive BS that they can charge $400 a box. Tracy, what's happening? Good morning. John says Upper Deck 40 Man was akin to Topps Total or Topps Total Tops. Can you wrap up? I need to pee. Just go. I'm not going to talk about anything important. Just go take a piss. Orlando laughs. Kyle says, good morning. I hope showcase sales were great. Compared to my expectations, yes, they were. We're going to talk about my weekend in Chicago. Dan says, my spondylosis came back after 23 years this weekend, and my back is in serious pain. Is that like, I don't know how to pronounce that word, but is it like scoliosis? That sucks. Philly Joe says, LOL, Coors Light with olive juice. Tastes like Coors Light with olive juice. It does, yeah. Tastes like Coors Light with a dash of olive juice. Dan says, serious pain might be an overstatement, but it hurts. We'll do some exercises from home, which helped last time this happened. Yikes. I told Mark Hoyle I'll be in his neighborhood in July to hopefully meet up. Very cool. Dan says, when you bring the pitch for the Pokemon show to Sheraton, and what was their reaction? Like, awesome, cool. Their reaction to me bringing the pitch of the Madison Pokemon show was akin to the taste of olive juice in your Coors Light. Like, not great, not terrible. We'll take your money. It's 37 degrees in Korea, while it's 85 this past weekend, 70 today in Royals 417's neck of the woods. I think it's supposed to warm up, though, here today, or maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow. Eventually, where's the weather? It's 30 in Chicago. It's 28 degrees here. So my My computer is accurate. It feels like it's 15 though, but we're going to be 52, which, hey, I'll take 52 in March. I'd rather have 72, but hey, 52 is okay. 57 tomorrow. All right. Where we at? Big Scott, good morning. 80 on Friday, inch of snow on Sunday. Welcome to the Midwest. Isn't that something? Royals 417 says, should be a perfect day for the Pirates and Tigers in Lakeland. Bargain Boxer was attendance down in Rosemont. So I heard it was on Friday. I was there Saturday I didn't get there until 2, and it was pretty crowded on Saturday. I would say Saturday's crowd was similar to November's show. Sunday seemed, because I was there. I think Sunday was probably the same. I think Saturday and Sunday attendance was the same. I think it was certainly there wasn't more in attendance, but I don't think there was less in attendance. I think the attendance was similar on Saturday and Sunday compared to the November show. However, I was not there Friday, but people were telling me attendance was down on Friday. Merle, good morning. Odd Merchant says, attendance at shows here in Minnesota have been crazy busy. Likewise here. It's absolutely insane. In demand for table, I just as we're talking, I got another message. The waiting list, there's now a waiting list. I've got 2 or 3 already on the waiting list for the Pokemon only show. I've got somebody reaching out for tables. I had somebody upset because they feel like they're being snubbed for tables. And let me tell you, if you're listening and you feel like you've been or are being snubbed for dealer tables at the Madison Card Show, here's what you have to do. This person has reached out, has messaged me 3 times, 3 whole times in 6 months. That's not enough. Because to me, if you're only reaching out every once in a while, that tells me you're not really interested in setting up. Now, don't message me every day because that is going to annoy me also. But if you really want to get into the Madison Card Show, reach out to me, not every 2 or 3 months, but every month. Don't message me the day after a card show. Don't message me 3 weeks before the next show. Message me the week, like middle of the week, because the shows are always sold out. But there are openings. People cancel. Regulars can't do a show. I leave those spots open until like the week of the show. And then I fill spot here, a spot there. So reach out to me Thursday before Saturday. Friday before a Saturday, because usually those are when there's the most activity, turnover. And if nothing else, if there still hasn't come prepared on Saturday morning, bring your stuff and let me know, and you'll get right in. If there's a no-show. Now, there might not be a no-show, but there could be. And there's been 2 or 3 dealers in the last 6 months that have gotten in because that's what they've done. So reaching out a few times in 6 months or a year, I had one person reach out to me and says, where am I at on the waiting list? And I looked at the previous message. The last communication we had was in July, and he reached out in February. You're not even on, like, there is no list. There's so much demand. There doesn't need to be a list. That's great. It's not always going to be like this. But right now that's the case. And if you want to get in, you've got to be persistent. So, and that goes for all, not just the Madison Card Show, any shows that you're trying to get into that have been sold out. You've got to be persistent. Persistent, not annoying. If you message me every two or 3 days, that's annoying. Nobody's done that, but persistent it's all timing related. The worst time to reach out is like the very worst time to reach out to me about a show, like through messaging, is the day of the show. The second worst is the day after a show. And the third worst is 2 days after the show. The best time is probably 2 or 3 days before a show, and 2 days before a show, day before a show. It's the best time to get in. Where are we at? TD Sports Cards in the house. Good morning. Odd Merchant says, where's the green Pabst? Chris, good morning. I went to the Front Row show in Portland on Saturday. Not a good experience. They stuffed 200 tables in one ballroom and you couldn't move with all the people. That's annoying. That is annoying. So I've actually, and speaking of crowded, there's gonna be a couple less tables upstairs because of PSA, and could be dealing with a long line. Was talking with them this weekend about, line situations. And so going to do my best to at least control it to where here's the line to the tables over on the left. Here's where we're going to be on the right. It might just be painter's tape on the floor. But normally it's pretty crowded up as in that main entrance with the hallway where the elevators are. There's not going to be tables there. There's not going to be tables on the right as you walk in, because we're going to need those spaces for potential for PSA lines. And we won't know. We won't know until we do it, what the turnout's going to be, how many people will be there dropping stuff off for PSA. So we'll find out. On Saturday, March 29th, the Madison Card Show, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. Cooter says, how many TCG dealers do you typically have? What percent of your Saturday TCG dealers are setting up Sunday? Those are questions I have the answers to, but not off the top of my head. I would say typically there are TCG only. There's been a lot of sports dealers that now have. So the amount of TCG dealers is less than like the table, because I've got multiple sports dealers that, may have 2 or 3 tables. One table's Pokemon, or maybe a half a table is Pokemon. I would say there's probably, out of 140 tables, I would say there are 30 to 35. Let me see. I actually ran the numbers. I don't know what I know it was like 27% was at one show of tables. So let's just do the math. 27 of 140 is 37. That sounds high. 37. So 37.8, 37, 38 tables out of 140. So between just call it 35 to 40 tables. So the percent is like 27% on Saturday, 27 to 30%, say, on set. How many are setting up on Sunday? Many of them are. I can look at pretty quickly. Now this is dealers and not necessarily tables. Where are we at? All right, we need Pokemon. All right. So the Pokemon show is sold out with 60 different dealers filling 100 tables. 60 different dealers, 100 tables. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So would I say 14? So 14 dealers are setting up Saturday and Sunday. And again, there are 60 different dealers set up on the Pokemon only show. Low roller scratchers in the house. Where's your March Madness bracket group? Yeah, we'll do one, because I don't typically. This will probably be the only outlet for me, because I don't jump into random March Madness brackets. I haven't even looked at the bracket. I listened. The Selection Sunday show was on during my drive. Well, yeah, it was going on during my drive, so I had the score on the radio on my drive home. So I was kind of, and they had to like watch. They're reporting it from like the TV. So I was able to get like bits and pieces. Like I know who the number 1 seeds are, but that was, pretty much set in stone anyway. So I did read some of the backlash on 14 SEC teams getting in, North Carolina getting into the first 4, Indiana getting snubbed. So it seems like there was more backlash this year. It kind of went back to normal, where we used to have backlash every year. It seems like the last couple of years there hasn't been as much animosity towards the selection committee, where this year it's back to knives or pitchforks are out. So yeah, I'll get that set up at some point today. I'll post it in the Facebook group, and I'll have the link ready for you tomorrow here. Orinoco Flow, Enya, there you go. Orinoco Flow. Did you sell out all your showcases in your card show? So I did sell. My expectations were 0 sales, and I exceeded my expectations. Gem City says, I'm red in the head, not Irish, mostly Scottish and German, There you go. Polish, correct. Bargain Boxer says, like Ernie, I pooped earlier too. I am not an early morning pooper. See, I've got to get my coffee. Got to get my coffee going and then move around a little bit, and then I can do my duty. Chris says, general admission $10, VIP $15, parking was $15. The tables were $240, Pokemon and comic books in addition to cards, not a single bargain box in the room. That's a bummer. Chicago Sports Spectacular in terms of parking is 15 at the Spectacular. Admission is 20. General admission is $20. So you're looking just to walk in the door. If you don't even have tolls, it's $35. If you're local to the Spectacular, it's $35 just to walk in the door. I know you can park down the street for $8 or whatever and save a few bucks, but for the most part, it's expensive. But there were a lot of bargain boxers. The last 2 Chicago Sports Spectaculars that I've been to, the bargain boxes were actually decent bargains. It was 2020, November of 2023. I had gone to the Spectacular for the first time since pre-COVID. And there were like no bargain boxes. It was like I bought like a Topps Archives tin and like a t-shirt. And I spent the entire day there. Not a single bargain, not a single true bargain box. There were bargain boxes, but they weren't bargains. But I found some good stuff, and I probably could have found more. Actually, I forgot. There was a bargain box with like $2 and $3 autos, and I pulled out about $50 worth of cards. And I'd spent like a half an hour, 45 minutes at this booth, and the dealer with the bargain boxes kept leaving the table. Which, hey, I totally get. I do the same. But I also had a table that I had to get back to on the other side of the room. And there was another guy shopping that waited for like 10 minutes for the guy to come back. He's like, here's what I got. And the guy's buddy like wouldn't take the money. It's like, come on, that's card show 101. If you're set up with a buddy, like your buddy can take the money, right? So he's like, I've been waiting. He got like upset. He's like, I've been waiting here for 10 minutes. You told me a few minutes. And he's like, I'm ready to go. And he was getting loud. He was getting pissed. And like at that point, the guy like showed up. They did the deal. So then he sat there the whole time until like I'm in my last row of his boxes, and he gets up and walks away. And I'm like, well, hopefully he comes back. So I get through the row, and I'm like, well, he's not back yet. So I'll count to see what my dollar amount is. And it was like $48 worth of cards, mostly for like Cubs, mostly for my PC. There were like 3 or 4 cards that, I'd flip, but nothing big, like nothing special, and certainly nothing that I needed. So I waited a few minutes. I counted up, and I went through another like row. He had some vintage, and I was going through vintage. Nothing really tickled my fancy there, and he's still not back. And I'm like, okay. And now I've got to get back to my table because I've been gone for. My buddy was at my table. We split the table, Justin, and so I'm like, all right. So I go to his buddy and I'm like, hey, he's like, yeah, he just stepped away. He'll be back in a few minutes. And I'm like, well, I got to go back. I'm like, just set these here and I'll be back. And I didn't come back. That's the famous last word. I'll be back. They never come back. And I pulled that because it's like, well, at this point, it's like, and then I get back to my table. It's like, oh, I need to go back. Hopefully he's at his table now. And it's like, you know what? I don't really want those cards. He can just put them back in his boxes. Johnny M says, good morning. Trout sold. It did not. I had 2 solid offers. So I was selling out of my showcase. First off, shout out to my buddy Wally. Hope he's listening. So we'll talk about the Chicago Sports Spectacular. My buddy Wally, this is the second show in a row. He has not been able to set up on Sunday. So he sets up Friday, Saturday. He's like, hey, you want my table? I'm like, sure. And then call my buddy Justin, and I'm like, hey, you want to split the table again? And we had a great time. He kills it. He's a great salesman. I'm just a shitty salesman. I overprice my cards and I don't push the sales. He's well priced. He's a great talker. So shout out to Wally. Thank you, Wally. I had Wally actually found a couple potentially interested parties, and one of the guys, we've actually done a couple deals in the past, and he had a price that I knew going in what his price was. I didn't know if he had any flexibility on it, but it's like, I'll hit you up when I get there. So we met up on Saturday afternoon, and he was at, so my sticker price, 11,000. I'll be completely transparent with prices here. My sticker price, 11,000. And then I have, and I'll just give it all away. So sticker price is 11. My soft number is 10, and my firm bottom line, 9,000 on the Trout First Bowman Blue Auto. So his number was 8,000. And I thought about it because I knew what his number was on Friday. And I talked to my wife, and I'm like, so here's the thing. I'm like, I think I might take it. We were just not like I, talked to her about deals I'm doing, but it just came up, and I'm like, I don't know. I might actually take that. Like, that's a solid offer. Bird in hand, whatever that saying is. And my wife kind of talked me out of it. She's like, well, I thought you could sell it for 10. And I'm like, I do, but it's speculation. I'm like, and it may not come up to 10. He tears his ACL and gets hurt again. It's, I'll be upset that I passed on 8. But if he starts the season off and hits a couple home runs and plays the first full month, all of a sudden, hey, Trout's back. He's back. It might be 12K. Who knows? It might be 6K. Who knows? Economy tanks. You don't know. It could go one way. It could go the other. It's bound. So that's why I settled on 9K as my firm number. So we talked it out. He shows me the comps, and I get it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm firm at 9. He's like, yeah, I couldn't. And he told me, he was completely transparent with me. He's like, here's what I plan to do with it. And he's going to flip it. And I totally get it. His price was 8. Mine was 9. He wasn't coming up, and I'm not coming down. So, and that's okay. And I respect his offer, and I respect the way he conducted the comp and all that. So, and then I had early on Sunday morning, I had somebody come up and very interested, got it out. And again, a flipper. And, I said, I walked away from an 8,000 offer yesterday. My number's not, we did the dance at the beginning. he's like, what's your price? I know it's 11, but what would you do? I'm like 10. And he's like, have you had? And I'm like, yeah, I had an $8,000 offer yesterday, turned down, walked away. So he's like, yeah, 8 is going to be my best. That's fine. I'm not going to do 8. So he came back a little bit later and he's like, yeah, so I got my buddy he's interested. And he showed me the text. He's like, I'd do 77. I'm like, yeah, I'm not. I turned 8 down yesterday and I'm not going to. And he's like, all right. He goes, I text him back. He's like, so he's at 81. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do that. Then he goes, you're not going to counter? And I'm like, my counter's 9. Like my number is like not firm is firm. Like no BS. Sticker is 11. You asked me what I would do. I said 10. I didn't say I was firm at 10. I just said I'd do 10, but I'm firm at 9. And when I say I'm firm, I'm firm. Doesn't mean I'm doing 81 or 82 or 85 or 89. 9 is my number. So I walked away from 8,100 and I feel good about it. And that's what I told Wally on Saturday, because he was there Saturday, and I'm like, I feel good about it. I did not, because when I first got that, through text, like he's at 8, I'm like, damn, I might take 8K cash. Like that's a solid offer. That's a great offer, but it's not where I want to be. I am motivated to sell the Trout, but I'm not desperate. I am motivated to sell at my number. And my number is not 8. It's not 8,100. It's not 8,800. It's 9,000 right now. Next weekend, it might be 10. It could be 7. Who knows? Depends on what happens. And that's the risk you take. So I'm confident that I can get my number. And my number might end up being, who knows? I might be able to get that magic number of 10,000. I don't know. I might kick myself because I end up selling it for 6,000 in 6 months. Who knows? But I feel good about walking away from those offers. Michael Renicky says, good morning. Bargain Boxer says, Chris, were you at Rosemont? Holmes in the house. What's going on? Good morning. Rob is here. Good morning. I forgot you was set up this week. I was also set up across from PSA. Oh, I probably walked by your table a couple times. Interesting. Odd Merchants. Bargain boxes are now $1 and are filled with 2023 Mosaic football. There's a lot of that. It's like, oh my God, if I see any more modern football and basketball in these bargain boxes, God, I can't wait. I can't hold in my excitement when I find 90s and early 2000s in 50 cent and dollar boxes, which is a lot of what I found. A lot of what I purchased this weekend, and I bought from 2 dealers. Dell, which I bought a whole bunch of cards from Dell on Saturday. A whole stack of autos, which I'm probably going to put together a big autograph lot for my eBay store. And then in the 50 cent boxes, I found a lot of like Jackie Robinson, Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle that I'll put some smaller player lots. Those seem to be pretty liquid on the small player lot front. So did some of that. Bought from Jennings on Sunday morning before the doors opened. Probably half of what I bought from Jennings was color Cubs, which the last couple shows I've bought from them, they've had some good. And I mean, we're talking like Braylon Marquez and Ryan Jensen and stuff like that. But it's stuff for 50 cents. For 40 cents with the discount. I'm all about it. Where we at? Steals and deals. Johnny M says, feeling snubbed about a card show. Suck it up, Buttercup. That's kind of what I thought, but I didn't say it. Max says, vendor setup crowd on Friday was definitely way down compared to November. And that's what I heard. From pretty much every standpoint, Friday was a down day. From the crowd, from sales, everything on Friday in Chicago was down. Word, what's going on? Good morning. Message me on the third Tuesday of Clocktober. There you go. Afternoon before 12:30. Right. Like trying to take your money out of offshore betting accounts. Bargain Boxer says, Max, why do you think attendance is way down? As the fly crows. Showcase question from Gem City Card Show, wood or metal? Any other considerations? And I ordered tablecloths, not floral pattern. Wood or metal? Mine's like metal. I ordered it from Hobby Defense. Really nice showcase with the black felt. And it's like a aluminum or metal type deal. I mean, I prefer the look of metal over wood. So yeah, but again, I've had a showcase for 2 days. So what do I know? Bo the Bouncer with his special list. That's right. Max says Dallas doesn't help. Oh, that's right. Dallas was this weekend as well. That's a great point. I totally forgot. So yeah, so there was a lot of competition this weekend. Dallas doesn't help vendor-wise. I don't know. I think people are starting to realize bigger shows aren't necessarily better, and I think that's kind of what it is. Although it was still Saturday and Sunday were great. There are just so many shows now. Money is earned at the same rate. That is very true. That is very true. I am very interested, speaking of bigger shows, I'm very interested to see what turnout, attendance, and sales are like for the shows coming to Wisconsin, the big shows coming to Wisconsin in April and May. There's a big one-day show in, I think, Franklin. There's a big show in Milwaukee in May. Now, that's a 3-day show. I think that will probably lend to, bigger dealers, more money coming in than a one-day show. Gem City says, I only want a healthy amount of tables for my market, something that provides variety so there's plenty of attendance. I'm trying to grow the hobby and culture locally is my main goal. I love it. And that's great. And I think your area needs something like that. You look here, and does the area need another show, a Pokemon only show? No, but there's demand for it, and it's sold out. So might as well meet the demand. But I like where the situation you're in as well. Bargain Boxer says, I don't feel bad for missing Rosemont. I'm still going to the Nationals, though. What's the countdown? You haven't given us the countdown. Odd Merchant says, TCG dealers shouldn't be allowed at the sports show and vice versa. So, and here's my counter to that. And I understand why people think that. And here's my counter. The Madison Pokemon show is completely separate entity. It is not the Madison Card Show. The Madison Card Show is sports and Pokemon. Why? Well, why are you doing a Pokemon only show? Because they're kind of being co-branded because they're the same weekend, the same promoter. Well, why isn't Saturday sports only? Because sports only didn't get the Madison Card Show to where it's at. The Madison Card Show grew into what it has become because of sports and Pokemon. If it was sports only, it would not be where it is today. If it was Pokemon only, it would not be where it is today. It's sports and Pokemon, and that's why it's going to stay that way. Low Roller says, are you preparing Pokemon fights in your Pokemon card show? You see it all over the news. I don't know. Never heard of that. Glad guys who collect sports cards don't fight. Glad guys who collect sports cards don't fight. What are nationals? What percentage of Pokemon dealers will bitch about their lack of sales at your show? I guess pretty high. Here's the thing. When dealers complain about sales, none of them are Pokemon dealers. I will tell you that. My Pokemon dealers don't complain about sales. The complaints about sales are coming from sports card dealers. Bargain Boxer gives us the countdown, 129 days. Let's go. John says they also seem the more socially challenged and don't appear to be equipped with the ability to roll with what life throws at them. But they make more money. They make good money at card shows. Max says, plenty of sports cards guys fight, though. No S at the end of the national. Yeah, Target, 2021, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I think that was a GUN. YouTube doesn't allow you to say that word, but I think a GUN was pulled over sports cards. Listen to me defending Pokemon. Wow. Evolution. It's evolution, baby. Wake Forest sleeper. Bargain Boxer says, just joking about fighting. Remember COVID fights. Oh, yeah. James, what's going on? You buy all Farley Brothers dollar boxes had fire in them. Farley Brothers. I don't know who those. What's going on? You buy all Farley Brothers boxes had fire in. I don't know who that is. Barry says, how much are the cards now in bargain boxes? It used to be dollar cards and sometimes $5. Have they gone up to $10 cards? No. There's quarter boxes, 50-cent boxes, dollar boxes, $5 box, $10. Usually when you get to when you get above $1, it's usually mixed. And what I typically see is bargain boxes are kind of arranged and these are the ones I avoid. If it's like this row's $1, this row's $2, this row's $5, this row's $10. When they're not really bargains. Like I'm looking from a flipper standpoint. And when I'm digging through everything's $1 because things get missed. You forget you had stuff in there. But when you're when you're sorting them a little better at different price points, they're not really bargains anymore. John says, why stick around to pay a guy? Why not just leave and not give that guy your business? That's what I did. I think they call that rewarding bad behavior. Nope, I did not go back. I did not stick around. I did not go back. He lost a $48 sale. I'm imagining a show where all the dealers are at other people's tables. How does commerce take place? James says, my bad, not the Farley Brothers. LOL, I forget the guys' names. Was pulling $10, $20 cards out of the dollar box Friday. I don't know. Don't know who that is. Leave the cash on the table and take the cards. Fuck waiting for dealers. Bargain boxes are turning into time suck unless you were a collector now that Carrie from Arbitrage has a podcast about bargain boxes, loose lips, sink ships. Hey, there's still plenty of bargains to be had. I find them at every show. I find great stuff at every show. So does James. Max says, just as bad, though, not going bad to buy the cards, though. Oddwell said, the gig is up, or is it jig? Seeing the guys with Pelican cases sifting through bargain boxes now. Orlando says, heard the Portland show was 75% Pokemon. Take the 8 and run. Mark, what's up? And now that Mark's in the chat, we can say hello. Good morning. Good seeing you. What was the Trout offer from the Boston guy, Andre? That was 8,100. And he's the one who's like, do you have a counter? I'm like, 9's my counter. 9's my firm number. So 81 and that was the highest offer. But again, 9 was my number. So I got to hang out with Mark a little bit. Mark picked up some amazing stuff. And Mark on Sunday brought me something over. My very first Cubs silk. Ed Rulebach. Check that out. A gift from Mark F. Thank you so much. And he gave me some great advice. We were talking and he's like, I don't know, this may be I don't know how you put it, a crazy idea, but it's not a crazy. Do I have your number? Send me your phone number because I want to text you about our conversation we had on Sunday. So thank you, Mark. In fact, I've got an open spot in my showcase. We're going to put that up. There we go. So Ed is in the showcase. Thank you, Mark. Low Roller says, are you going to send your Mike Trout auto rookie or Triple H game tickets into Golden? I did reach out to Golden, but they said, yeah, we'll send you the stuff over. And I'm like, yeah, they never did. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I guess you don't. Again, it's kind of like getting tables at the Madison card show. So you got to be persistent. And it's my card or my ticket. So they didn't follow through. So no, I'll just sell it on my own. Again, the Triple H ticket, it's cool. I've had I think my best offer like 1,200 on the Triple H ticket, and it's like I had it for 1,000, and I had a $700 offer like within 5 minutes, and texted a buddy. He's like, "Oh, dude, I think that's gonna be worth way more than that." He's like, "In fact, you should take it down at 1,000." Because the guy who sent the 700 offer is probably going to buy it for 1,000. And guess what? I took it down. I relisted it at 2,500. The guy who offered me 700 offered me 1,000 the second time, and then I got another $1,200 offer later on. So it is up. I did take the Trout off eBay because I had it listed for I think 11 on eBay, and so I took it down. And if it goes back on eBay, it's going to be a higher price. Where are we at? Johnny M says 8K cash. I'm selling, no fees or taxes. Nope. And I'll get a cash deal done. And I think I'm going to get my number. I will get my number. So, hopefully. Imagine selling a house and letting everyone know what your bottom line is. Yeah, I don't care. I don't negotiate. This is my number. Take it or leave it. So there you go. But it might not be my number next week. So there you go. Max says, I love when you guys say, well, I need room to flip it. Yeah, I'm not here to make you money, bro. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I get it because it's what I do from a much smaller scale than what the Mike Trout is. But, and I do understand the market for this Mike Trout is likely going to a flipper. But I just kind of want to let's just take the middleman out, and whoever they flip it to, that's who I want to find. I'll just take you out. Oh, you've got a buyer at 9K. Well, I'll just go find that buyer myself, and I'll get my number. Dez, what's going on? I would have definitely take the offer. What will you replace the Trout with? Nothing. I mean, it was a goodwill find. The money's gonna go back into my business. I'm not gonna buy anything big with it. It'll be just used for capital. Smart. I'm not gonna go buy $10,000 worth of junk or hobby boxes. I'm just gonna, set it aside and use it for, whatever comes my way. Your intention on what you're doing with the card has no bearing on my price. Amen. Flawed Thinker, good morning. Long time no see. Yes. Robert, good morning. Yesterday, I'm combing through a bulk purchase lot I got from a guy four row mixed, paid 37 cents per card. In there was a near perfect top-loaded 89 Topps Ken Griffey Jr. Unreal Fine. Very nice. Very nice. Odd Merchant says Yankees struggle early on. Mike Trout will be headed there. It will go up 30% immediately. Yeah, we're not even baseball season hasn't even started. And normally this would be the time to sell baseball. However, Mike Trout missed the last, 3-4 months of the season. He's coming off injury. Now he's healthy, playing in spring training. He hasn't had a great spring training, but he's had he's hitting 290 in spring training with a few home runs. Not great, but not, above average still. So hopefully he can stay healthy. That's key. And also play well, hit well while staying healthy. Des says, I have a feeling Trout will have a bounce back year. I hope so. Where are we at? Odd Merchant says, me too, about the late 90s, early 2000s. And some of those have sneaky value on some of those cards, especially serial number cards or inserts. That dude from Dury, a lot of stuff that I was pulling out of, and we're talking early 2000s, some of those Topps Rookie of the Week inserts, those sell for upwards of $5. And, I'm pulling those out of 50-cent boxes. That dude says, what's up, guys? Museum prices were paid over the weekend. Hope this trend continues into the summer. So I said that I was putting museum prices on my cards, and I did. I did not expect to sell any cards. Like my expectations, I said it here on Saturday morning. I told Wally, I told Justin, I told Mark. I'm like, I've got high prices on everything. I don't expect to sell a single card out of my showcase. And I sold 4 cards out of my showcase. I sold 3 cards in a felt tobacco felt. Sold that for like $10. And it was cool because it was a University of Chicago. The guy was an alum, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to put this in a small frame and put it on my bookshelf. Like, that's cool because it's going to somebody. Like, I don't have any association with the University of Chicago. And it's got the banner. Now there is one that has like Chicago on the pennant. Maybe I'll keep that one. So I sold one of those for $10. I sold, and I probably could have sold it for 20. Because I mean, he was an interested buyer with the background and all that. And he gave me a trivia question that I got correct. And I'm like, I don't know if I'll, because he's like, I got a trivia question. Who was the very first Heisman Trophy winner? And for whatever reason, kind of like remembering that I woke up at 3:41 a.m., I remember that the first Heisman Trophy winner was Jay Berwanger out of the University of Chicago. He goes, I've got a trivia question that nobody knows. Who was the very first Heisman Trophy winner? He goes, you'll never get this. And I'm thinking, and I'm like, all right, I know where this is going. Chicago, Jay Berwanger. And he goes, nobody knows that. He goes, only University of Chicago people know that. I'm like, well, and nerds like me that grew up in the magazine era and reading about sports history, Jay Berwanger, 1937, University of Chicago. So I sold the felt for $10. I sold the Anthony Rizzo. And so I had, and I wrote this down. I typed it out in my notes. I had, I think, 30 items in my showcase. And I sold 4 out of the 30. Where are we at? Spectacular. I had 30 total items, 18 Cubs items in my showcase. And I sold 4 items. And 12 were non-Cubs items. So I sold 4 out of the 12 non-Cubs and 0 out of the 18 Cubs. Now, I will say my prices on the non-Cubs stuff were a little more competitive than the museum prices I had on the Cubs cards. And the funny thing was, the guy who bought 2 cards out of my showcase was like a diehard Cubs fan, and he almost pulled the trigger on my Ron Santo auto bat relic. I had priced it I think it's on eBay for like $250, some crazy price. And I had it priced at $140, and I'm like, I do the Santo for $120, and he almost pulled the trigger. He's like, So I think I paid $100. I think I paid $80 or $100 for it. I can't remember. And it's just a piece that it just doesn't fit my collection, my Cubs collection, because it's in one of those long time anyway. So I sold 4 cards. The felt for 10. An Anthony Rizzo first Bowman blue. I had priced at $20. And younger guy comes up and he's like, the last couple sold for like $8-9. He's like, well, you take 10. I probably bought it for $1. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do 10. And then I told Justin, I said, the one card I thought I would sell out of the showcase, because it was at a decent price, and I'm in Chicago, was my Peanut Tillman gold refractor auto from Topps Chrome. Now it's Topps Chrome, unlicensed. I had a lot of people looking at it. And I ended up selling it to the Cubs guy that almost bought my Santo. And he did a package deal. He bought a card. He bought an Ian Happ auto from Justin, and then he bought Peanut Tillman that I had 50 on the sticker. And he paid 40. And then my Ozzie Guillen auto that I got in the Beloit auction lot. and I had that priced at 40, and I said I'd do 30 on that. So those were the 4 items I sold. So I did $90 in sales, which was $90 more than I expected. Sold 4 more items than I thought, and I didn't sell a single Cubs card on Sunday. Now, I did have a prearranged deal on Saturday. I sold a couple bigger Cubs items on Saturday, so that was an already prearranged deal. So it was a good weekend, and it was fun dealing out of the showcase. Like, it's different. The only thing I didn't like about selling out of a showcase is I can't just walk away from my table. Now, I had Justin with me, so I'm like, hey, I'm going to go take a walk around, and then he would take a walk around and all. So it was good. The buddy system works. But at a normal show, I probably wouldn't, Janesville, Rockford, certainly Madison. I'm not taking a showcase because I'm all over the place. Like, I'm usually shopping and set up my bargain boxes. So who knows? Who would have thought when Hobby Evolution episode 1 aired that I'd ever do a card show? In fact, I don't even think I was setting up at card. Well, it was COVID, so nobody was setting up at card shows, but I hadn't even set up. I think when I started Hobby Evolution, I had set up at one card show in the previous 10 years, probably. No, 2 card shows. I did a Peoria show in 2014. I did the old Madison card show in 2020, right before COVID, in 2020. So 2020 and 2014. And then I think before that, it was probably like 2010. So 10 years I did 2 card shows. And then here we are, 1,425 episodes later. I'm promoting card shows, showcase. But most card shows I set up, I'll still be doing the bargain boxes. But I've evolved to this point. Who knows? Maybe next year at this time, I'll only be doing card shows with showcases. You never know. Never say never. Des says, I sold my SP Otani and all I got was a hunk of silver. Nice. Bargain Boxer hates museum prices. He wants those steals and deals. Flawed Thinker says, I have a question about the Trout. Say you eventually get your 10K number, but not until All-Star break. Would you have then preferred to sell it for 8K now and have made more money from reinvesting? Remains to be seen. In all honesty, I'd rather have the 10K in July than 8K today, because I'm only going to reinvest it with a smart purchase. I'm not just going to take the money. If it was 8K today, I wasn't going to go run around the card show like Supermarket Sweep and buy $8,000 in inventory. I'm going to be very calculated with, and I am very calculated with what I spend my inventory money on. So in the next April, I still use my fingers to count. April, May, June, July, 4 months. In the next 4 months, is there going to be an opportunity where, like, oh, easy liquid? I mean, I have the money on hand anyway. Yeah, it'd be nice to have an additional 8,000 if something like that came up, but it's not that I need it. So I'd rather have the 10K in July. That's 4 months. Like, if you invested, take the same question. If you invested in the stock market and you could put $8,000 in the stock market today and earn $2,000 by mid-July, like, that's a fucking no-brainer. Like, yeah, absolutely. Or would you rather invest that along the way? I'd rather invest $8,000 today and take out a $2,000 profit in 4 months than to sprinkle along the way. And it doesn't mean I could reinvest that 8,000 today, tomorrow, in the next 2-3 months. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a smart purchase. Just because I'm reinvesting it doesn't mean it's going to be a good investment. It could be like, oh shit, because I've made purchases where it's like, yeah, I fucked that up. So 100%. I'm firm on, I'll wait till July and make 10K. James says Jennings brothers were awesome. Oh, Jennings. They have been nailing it at card show. There was a stretch of card shows where their boxes sucked. And I just rave about their bargain boxes. I was finding I didn't buy much and I didn't spend much time at their boxes on I didn't even get there on Saturday, but on Sunday I pulled out like 50 cards on Sunday. Now I'd say half of them were for my PC, but they're like for 40 cents a piece, like blue and purple and different colored parallels that I need for my Cubs collection. But yeah, they have been every show they've had lately. They've been bringing the heat at their bargain boxes. Flawed thinker, just wondering. John says, when does the Braylon Marquez era end? It's over. The Braylon Marquez era ended, I think, 2 years ago. Dad Dude from Duryea says, I hate museum prices as a buyer, not a seller. Amen to that. Amen to that. Pokemon fights are driven by retail scalpers. Max says, LMAO, I love those guys. Card shows wouldn't be half of what they are right now without Pokemon. Sorry, not sorry. Max is correct. I love sports cards too, but more than half the crowds around here are just for Pokemon. Max is correct. I know, and I'm a sports card guy. I don't like Pokemon. But he's absolutely correct. The big crowds are driven by Pokemon. If I did, and I'm not going to do this, but if I said, okay, the Madison card show Saturday is only going to be Pokemon, or Saturday's only going to be sports, and Sunday's only going to be Pokemon, the Saturday show would not be what the typical Madison card show normally is. And the sports card guys are going to be like, oh, you didn't promote this well enough. There's nobody here. A lot of the traffic is from Pokemon. I hate admitting that, but it's the cold, hard truth. Good morning, 608 Sports Cards. Will you be ripping anything for opening day? I haven't even thought about that. Now, opening day tomorrow, no. Because I'll be still wiping the stuff out of my eyes at 5:10 tomorrow morning. Real opening day. Tomorrow's not opening day. Real opening day. I don't know. Typically, I do. I don't know if I will or not. There's really nothing that I want to open. Like Top Series 1 is like way in the past. So I'm not going to open that. I don't think there's going to be any new products between now and 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now. I probably won't. John says TCG and sports cards at one show is like a car show, e-bike show. Break the cycle. No, we're not going to do that. Gem City says, is it cardboard? Then they belong in the same place. It's a card show. It's not a sports card show. It is a card show, but it is a Pokemon show on Sunday. I thought your Pokey were bitching about the higher table rates. No, I don't think any of my, I'm trying to think of who has complained about table rates. I think every dealer that's like, and when I say complain, it's just like a complaint. Like, oh, I don't know if I can, $60. I don't know. I don't think a single Pokemon dealer has complained about table rates. The last show, or I guess January show, like 3 or 4 dealers like kind of complain, like, ooh, that hurts. And they were all sports car dealers. So Max says, I think the guys that should be separated from the shows are the vintage guys that have to sit down in a chair, buy one card for their set, clog the aisle, and then leave. I don't actually believe this. Just wanted to see how stupid it was to say something like that. Mark says, for sure, hope you enjoy. John says, silk looks great, but cannot wait for the Squirtle silk. Low roller, cash is king. You don't have to pay tax. There you go. Great financial advice from Low Roller Scratcher. Chris says, I don't know about 75% Pokemon in Portland, but definitely 50. There was one vintage dealer with 60 sets and binders with no prices. He was using a physical Beckett to look up prices. Wah, wah. If I was a casual observer, like interested in looking at that table and I saw that happen, I would walk away. Was the Peanut Tillman buyer wearing a White Sox hat and fake mustache and rubber nose? No. No, he was not. He was wearing a Cubs jacket. Merle says, way to let the peons attending the Madison card show aren't good enough for your precious showcase. They'll have to be happy with quarter boxes. Yes, they will have to be happy with my quarter box. I haven't set up at the Madison card show in, has it been, it might be a year since I've actually set up at the Madison card show. I can't remember the last time I set up. LRS is right. Stop paying taxes. Doge cuts and tariffs mean the rest of us don't need to pay taxes anymore. Reinvesting doesn't mean guaranteed gains. We were told to invest in Bitcoin right here in February. I've had to sell my furniture to cover the losses. These Pokemon people also buying sports cards too. The Bitcoin bullion buzz. Hey man, you inspired me to start an eBay store a couple years ago. Then you moved 10 minutes away from me. Interesting. I think that means that you're going to have to sell me some bulk sometime. Yeah. Where are you at? I didn't move. Did you move? I didn't. Well, I did move. I did move. But I didn't move very far. I moved like 2 miles away. 2 miles away. So are you in the Madison area? Low Roller says, Doge is cryptocurrency. It means my Dogecoin goes up crazy soon. Crypto is down now if tariffs are gone forever. The breaks. What's going on? How about assigned seating Pokemon on one side and sports on the other side? Well, that just doesn't work. Because a few of my dealers have been with me for the long haul. And it's like, hey, and they like their spots. And it's like, hey, I know that you've been a long-term dealer, but since you sell this, I've got to move you. And it doesn't necessarily mean Pokemon gets moved. It could be sports guys get moved. And it's just not fair to the dealers, whether they sell this, that, or the other thing. There's got to be some seniority involved in laying out a card show. So that just doesn't work. And, you've got to think ahead. What if somebody's car breaks down? What if they call in sick or whatever? And they happen to be in the Pokemon and it's like, well, I've got a sports guy. And all of a sudden you've got a sports guy in the Pokemon room. And it's not fair to the sports guy because now he's surrounded by Pokemon and sports card only people aren't even going to see him because I'm not going to walk in that area because that's Pokemon, or vice versa. A sports dealer bows out. Oh, the only person that can do on last minute notice is a Pokemon guy. Pokemon guy goes in the sports card room. Again, it's not fair for the dealer. So that just doesn't work. Breaking it up like that just does not work. Let's see. Low Roller says the person was calling for card show available. He should set up at a flea market. There you go. I'll let him know. Set up at a flea market. Bitcoin Bullion Buzz says, I thought you had said you moved to Anawan. Sorry about that. Oh, no. I am from Anawan. I moved away from Anawan in 2003. And I lived in Macomb, and then I moved to Madison in 2014. So I've been in Madison for 11 years now. But my mom lives in Anawan, and I still drive to Anawan a few times a year. Max says, no, that would be a mess. Does anyone here actually fucking go to shows or just not pay attention? Max is correct. He's a little rough around the edges with his explanation, but Max is absolutely correct. Low Roller says, these Pokemon people also buying sports cards too. Low Roller wants to know about the Bitcoin Bullion Buzz. That makes sense. I'm from Rock Falls, live in Prophetstown. Oh, very cool. P-Town, home of Brett Bielema. Prophetstown, home of the Prophets. In fact, sometimes I hit up Prophetstown in the summer. My brother has a cabin on the river just past Casey's. And so usually once or twice a summer, I'll hit up the river and hang out with my brother at his cabin. That dude from Duryea says, I like finding cards at shows that are not specific. Oh, you might know. Do you know my high school algebra teacher, Mr. Earl? Mr. Earl lives in Prophetstown. He's a deadhead. That dude says, I like finding cards at shows that are not specific. Flea markets, record shows, antique shows seem to work better when sports cards are not the main focus. Oh, yeah. Now, sometimes it works the opposite way, where you walk into an antique store and they think they have gold and it's a pile of 1989 Fleer. But in other cases, you can find some really good deals at flea markets. I don't like antique. I don't like the fancy antique stores. I like the junk antique stores. That's where you can find the good stuff. Not the fancy antique malls. That's where you're going to find overpriced junk wax. But I like the mom and pop garbage antique shops. Here's another one from Max. If you think you can do it better, create your own show. And I love it when people do that. And they're very outspoken about how a card show should run. And then, it's not that easy. John says, when's the last time someone moved to Anawan? It's a good question. 1848? I don't know. Low Roller says, are you thinking about starting a card show in the mail? You will get bigger space and a lot of tables available for you. In the mall? Absolutely not. Mall shows suck. Now, I say I'm not going to do something, and I end up doing it many times in the last 1,425 shows of Hobby Evolution. One thing that I can tell you, there are many things that I'll never do. I'll never wear flip-flops because nobody wants to see my gross-ass feet, just like I don't want to see their gross-ass feet. I'm never wearing flip-flops. What else am I never doing? I'm never doing a mall show. I can guarantee you, I'm never wearing flip-flops, and I'm never promoting a mall card show. The Break says 80% don't have the brains to run a show. If TCG is so great, then it can support a separate standalone show. Confused about the Pokey Folky saying they are the shot you need to ride on the coattails of sports cards. Please explain. Well, the Madison Card Show was built on both sports and Pokemon. The Madison Card Show and other card shows can be different. You can have a sports card only show. It's not going to be Madison, Wisconsin. It's not going to be at the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive. The Madison Card Show was built collectively on all trading cards, not just sports cards, not just TCG. Sports cards. I'm not doing a third show for sports. The Madison Card Show is going to continue to what brought it to where it's become, a collective of sports and TCG. There's so much demand for Pokemon. There's not the demand for sports cards, but there's demand for Pokemon. So we're going to do a TCG only show, and they're two separate entities. I don't have demand for sports card dealers, but I've got demand for Pokemon dealers. So if you want a sports card only show, make one yourself. Go find one. The Break says you should wear a suit. Max says it could. LOL. I don't. My neighbor's name is Clay Thompson. That's close. My brother's name is Corey. And I've been DCAing into Bitcoin since late 2019. And I got into Solana at just over $8. And I've never sold for whoever asked about my crypto. Very nice. Mall shows are great if you like unpriced cards with dudes referencing 2003 Beckett prices. You can set up Beanie Babies. There you go. We can have a Beanie Baby show. Literally a month and a half ago, there's a waiting list. A month and a half to go, there's a waiting list. I could fill a 100 table sports card only show. But I can tell you there's more dealers for Pokemon in my area than there are sports card dealers. Max says, it's okay. Just say you don't like Pokemon and move on. I'm not offended, so I don't care. Solana went up $200. Malls are going under. The shows may be keeping them alive for the fake cologne dealers. I couldn't tell you the last time I was in a mall. I think the last time I was in a mall was here at the Westtown Mall in Madison to look for an ugly Christmas sweater like 3 or 4 years ago. The break says, who can kick a Beanie Baby the farthest wins a pack of 2025. There you go. All right. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, visit my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Buy 7 or more items at regular price. You'll save 25% off at checkout, 99centcards.com. Dez says, I'm a sports card guy, but I see nothing wrong with having Pokemon dealers next to each other. Whatever gets the foot traffic, and if anything, it helps sports cards. Absolutely. I'm saying the unwashed pokey-folky act like they don't need sports cards, yet they don't want to be segmented from the sports cards. Well, they are they're completely segmented on Sunday, April 27th. Hit the like button. Thank you. Subscribe to the channel. All that good stuff. We'll do this again tomorrow. I'll try to be hey, what's up, buddy? Hi. Ernie, what's up? Come here. Hey. Ernie's ready to go play with the puppies. You got the zoomies? You want to go see some puppies? Where's the puppies? Where's the puppies? Where's the puppies? Where's the puppies? Are you going to play with puppies? Where's the puppies? Ernie's ready to go play with the puppies. All right. We're out. Have a good day. See you tomorrow. Go Cubs. Baseball tomorrow. Later.